The Hulk, he's back in the octagon. One of the hardest guys to predict in the business. Last time out, I believe I cashed a 1-unit play on Felipe Lins plus 140. That was a winner. Felipe Lins went out there against Maxime Grishin, got the unanimous decision, fought how I wanted and how I expected, went out there, pursued some takedowns, landed some good shots on the feet. He's shown to be a much better fighter, so far, in my opinion, in this light heavyweight division than heavyweight division. He was undersized. He was showing up a little bit soft, a little bit flabby. I think he got back on the Brazilian supplements. I think he's been doing exactly what he needs to succeed. And I'm joking, of course, when I say Brazilian supplements. He's training an American top team, according to our friends at Topology. I haven't done my social media stock. I haven't checked everything here, but I haven't checked the odds either. JJ says, why the hell is Lins the underdog here? I am a little bit surprised to hear that Lins is the underdog here. Again, I tell you guys the truth. I don't come to these breakdowns with odds in mind. I come to these breakdowns just ready to fire off the cuff. And I feel like Felipe Lins is at worst probably a pick'em in this fight. I think that he could go out there and probably defend these takedowns from Ihor Cutelaba. I think Ihor Cutelaba is wild, reckless. I think his striking is a work in progress at best. I think that his striking is a little bit vulnerable and susceptible. He's got some uppercuts, some power, but his cardio has always been questionable. And ABCs, they always bet on cardio. I don't think Felipe Lins is like a marathon runner. I don't know that he's got the best cardio in the world, but I just think that he could fight a sustained, paced 15 minutes, knowing what he needs to do. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's the superior wrestler and grappler here. We've seen guys that aren't, tremendous jiu-jitsu practitioners per se, like a Ryan Spann, that just have good physical attributes, submit a guy like Ihor Cutelaba. And so for me, I do feel like Ihor Cutelaba, he's had vulnerabilities on the stand-up. He's had vulnerabilities on the mat. He's had vulnerabilities with the cardio. He's had vulnerabilities with the decision-making. I feel like he is not a guy that I want to be backing at chalk more often than not. So for me, I'm definitely leaning towards the Felipe Lins side, just off gut rip. When you look at his last fight, he went out there and beat somebody who was very well seasoned. He went out there and knocked out Ovince St. Preux, finished him easily. He went out there and decision Marcin Prachnio, and I know that was a little bit concerning, but it took Vitor Petrino to the third round to get Marcin Prachnio out of there. So everybody's acting like it's some easy deal. He got knocked out by Tanner Boser in the heavyweight division. And again, I feel like he wasn't really showing up for that fight, for the Arlovsky fight. He had a bunch of cancellations in between. But when he got to the octagon and when he showed up looking like he was on all the sauce, he's been doing a good job. Cutelaba has, he's been at Extreme Couture for some time now. I don't know exactly how long. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know it's not been one camp. It's definitely been multiple camps. And I feel like he's never gotten any better. And I don't think that's any indictment to the coaches. I feel like you look at a guy like Ihor Cutelaba out there in the cage, and he looks like an insane person. He just looks like a guy who's not, listening, not very coachable. He's out there doing antics and going wild and yelling and screaming and causing a scene and, all this stuff. And Felipe Lins is a lot more low key. But I think it's time to stop Brazilian hate in this fight. Shout out to my guy, Jimmy the Drunk, says, I'll give Lins a 70% chance to win. I don't have any formal handicap at this point, but I think that Felipe Lins is probably the side if he's plus money. That's my gut level feeling here. So, yeah, he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. He is 10 years older here, 9 years older or so. But I think at 38 years of age, Felipe Lins definitely could get knocked out. But I actually feel like he's just going to have a chance to easily, control a guy like Ihor Cutelaba, who gets wild and reckless and has been submitted a number of times in the UFC. Let's just look at his UFC resume, guys. 6-8-1 for Ihor Cutelaba in the UFC. 3 losses by knockout, 4 losses by submission, 1 loss by decision. He went to a split draw with Dustin Jacoby as well, where Dustin Jacoby, after getting virtually knocked out in the first round, came back to beat him, soundly the rest of the fight. He got knocked out absolutely brutally by Ankalaev twice, and probably changed his chin a little bit for the worse forever. He got easily bested by Jared Cannonier back in the day when Cannonier was an undersized 205er. I just don't rate this guy, Ihor Cutelaba, very high. So for me, it is a He's also a guy who's been disqualified regionally. He had a no contest regionally. This guy just has total Fugazi vibes to me. And beating Tanner Boser is a good win. And obviously it's a win over a common opponent. But I think that Tanner Boser cutting down to 205 that first time, I just didn't think it was a good look. And he did much better the second time out at 205. So all credit where it's due to a guy like Tanner Boser who made those physical changes. And I think the second time out, his chin had adjusted a lot better. But it's hard to change weight classes when you're that age and make a real sacrifice, a lifestyle change. So I feel like that's a credit to him.